Looks like we're just waiting for our chairperson. And Kevin Even will be joining us as well. He might be having trouble logging in. There's Chris.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Chris.
I made it to by 5:30. I left my office at 5:22 and I didn't speed, to be clear. One nice thing about working locally. So
We are kind of waiting for Kevin. He was trying to get to a spot to set up for the meeting. I know he's on the road. He kind of really wanted to be here. I don't know what's happening. I don't know how long you want to wait for him.
I don't know. I see that Brian Kleinmeier's on though. So we have our attorney, which is good. Who else do we have in here?
The first time you said that.
I didn't have much time to think about it. Always glad to have you on, Brian. You know that. Well, why don't we give Kevin, how about we give him 2 minutes? Everybody good with that? Thumbs up? All right, so I'll give him 2 minutes. Then we'll just get started, do the best we can. And hopefully Tracy's ready for it. And Brian, of course.
Kevin's logging in.
You must have heard me say 2 minutes. Good for him.
There he is.
All right, I'm going to call our Plan Commission meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Chris Elner,
Here.
Phil Willems,
Here.
Brian Malish,
Here.
Chris Thomas,
Here.
Kristen Runge,
Here.
Brian Wallace,
Here.
Brad Zeman.
Here.
Full house.
Okay, first item we have is minutes. I'd look for approval unless somebody has a comment they'd like to make about them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll
Motion
give
by,
that a second.
second by Brad Zeman. Any other comments? Raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. Roll call, Tracy.
Phil Willems,
Yes.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Chris Elner,
Yes.
Brad Zeman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next item we have is public comment. Is there anyone here in our audience and attendees that would like to make a comment on any item that's on the agenda or off the agenda? If you would like to, please raise your hand. And who's letting in tonight? Tracy, are you letting in?
Yes,
Perfect.
I have 7 attendees. At this point, I have no hands raised.
Maybe tell them where is that hand that they can raise if they need to. Direct them where it's
Mhm.
located.
It depends on what format you're watching on, but it's usually at the bottom of the screen or it is next to, oh, I see we have one. Hang on, we have Juanita Anderson. She is one of our applicants tonight for conditional use permit.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Juanita.
So I guess I am wondering if I can have a hair salon in my house, 300 4th Street. I just want to know, am I going to be able to do that? Or I do have a space in my breezeway that's a 8 by 11 space that I have 2 doors, one leading out to the garage and one out to the outside. I have 4 windows.
Juanita?
Yep.
Hey, can you just hold on for 1 sec?
Sure.
We do have you as an agenda item with a public hearing. And so as part of that process, you'll get a chance to, and we'll give you we have a positive staff recommendation. So I think it'd just be best if you could just wait till your agenda item is up.
Oh,
And then as
sorry.
part of, right before the public hearing, we could get you, we could, I think they'll love to hear, your background and what you're planning to do, but it'd just be later in our agenda.
Okay. So, I thought it was at 5:30 that I was.
It is,
Okay.
but there's other agenda items in front of you.
Okay, sorry, I've never done this before.
problem.
Okay,
You're just fine. There's one item on the agenda before you after public comment, and then you'll be on. So any others, Tracy?
No other hands raised. Juanita, I'm going to mute you just for the time being, and I'll unmute you when it's your turn.
okay, thank you.
Okay, then let's move on to our new business. We have a public hearing and discussion action on a request for conditional use permit. Jason Studi, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, 409 Patrick Avenue to operate an in-home gunsmithing business. Kevin, you want to introduce it?
Sure. Just a little bit of background on this, and I think Jason can, we can give him a chance to present. But what he's proposing is actually the way he's described it would actually meet all the requirements and not require a conditional use permit if he meets all those particular requirements. But in this particular case, ATF requires that the village sign off on the zoning. And it's been our past practice that if somebody has been operating a gunsmith, that we require them to go the conditional use process. And as part of that, so he completed an application, ATF contacted me and I said we would, consider it and, I think would be supportive, but we just have them go through our normal process and get that conditional use permit, which will really set the parameters, which I think he's agreed to in terms of what's going to be required of them. And Jason, you can certainly talk about this. If you asked for certain hours, and I did expand those just a bit, so just to make sure that you would stay in compliance with what you're asking for. So if you had a chance to look at those restrictions, which is actually a little more than what you requested, I think you could share that with the Plan Commission as well. So with that, Chris, I think you could ask the applicant or you could have him make a presentation as part of the public hearing. It's up to you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have him do the presentation and then we'll open up the public hearing for it.
Okay, yeah, Kevin, I'm not sure what you're talking about as far as additional restrictions. Did you send me something else? Maybe I missed that.
Tracy, did he get a copy of the CU application?
He did. There were no additional restrictions. I think what Kevin meant was he expanded your hours as
Gotcha.
from what you were requesting.
Okay.
There wasn't any additional than what you were sent earlier this week.
Okay. Yeah, what the plan is just conducting gunsmithing out of my home here, and then I'm not even through the process yet. I'm going to school to be a gunsmith. What that's going to entail is working on guns, in the evenings. I have a full-time job, so it's not going to be full-time or anything at this point. And then occasional gun sales. And that's like the hours that I have on there. I actually sent them to the ATF, but they're probably going to be a lot more limited than what I even have listed. I think I sent you all those hours, Kevin, so.
Correct. And I think I just expanded it. I think you had weekends as needed. I just extended that to, I believe, and Tracy, correct me, I don't have that document in front of me, but I believe we set it from maybe 11 to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Here it is. Tracy's bringing it up.
It says 3 to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
There we go. 3 to 8 Monday through Sunday.
Okay.
And if you got concerns about those hours, I think you could share that with the Plan Commissioner. If those are acceptable, that would be a part of the approval.
Sure. Yeah, I think the only difference I had was like Saturday mornings for like a couple hours or something. But yeah, that's way more hours than I had planned.
Yeah, and if you want Saturday morning, I think we can add that in just so you're covered in case somebody would, raise an issue. I don't have any problem. I think you had in your application hours as needed on the weekends, and I think our preference has been to have specific hours mentioned. So if you're thinking
Sure.
it's going to be more limited hours on a Saturday, maybe it's from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or whatever you think you need for the weekends.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, 8 to 11. That would probably be good for a Saturday.
Okay, any other comments, Jason? Otherwise, I'm going to open up our public hearing.
Nope, not this time.
Okay, sounds good. Then I'm going to open up our public hearing at this time for anybody who'd like to make any comments. Please raise your hand like before, and Tracy will call on you.
And Tracy, there's the last number is a telephone number call in. It's Nyla Fry, and I understand that she wants to speak at the public hearing. And I think it's this one, but I can't say for certain it's this one or the hair salon. So if you could let her in as part of the public hearing, that would be good.
Hello.
Hello, Nyla. Go ahead. If you have comments, go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to say that Mr. Stuvey's and my backyards, they face each other, and he's been a neighbor for quite some time. I just wanted to say that it's a very responsible family. Mr. Stuvey is very disciplined. He was part of the military for quite some time, and I would like to see him be able to have the business that he's applied to do, and it sounds like it's going to happen, and it makes me happy because anyone who's determined enough to open a business during these difficult times, I really have a lot of admiration for him. So I just wanted to put a good word in for him, and thank you.
Thanks, Nyla.
So what do I do to mute myself now?
I think Tracy will take care of that.
Mute you
Okay,
now.
thank you.
Thanks, Nyla. Any others during the public comment? Phil, you'll be commenting after.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, going once, twice. Public hearing is closed at this time. Comments from board or commission members? Phil, you had your hand up, so I'll go to you right away.
We've had gunsmiths in the past here, and they always operated very well. It almost seemed like they mostly did their business by appointment. It was not like people were in there shopping all the time. They were open when as needed for the customers that were calling in. So I see no issue with this.
Okay, thanks, Phil. Brian, any comments? Wallace?
Kevin, I couldn't help but, did you allude to maybe we have some others that are in the community doing this in a similar manner? Did I maybe catch that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And I don't remember the details. I just remember at least one other and possibly two other ones that have done similar home occupations, and we just have gone through this same process.
Okay. I think this sounds like a good plan. The only thing I would like to see, and Jason gave some hours for Saturday, but I'd like to see that specific in as paragraph G there. If 3 to 8, Monday through Friday is right, and he wants specific hours on Saturday, Sunday, I'd just like to see those laid out in there.
Gotcha.
Kristen Runge, any comments? Nope. Okay. Brian Malish?
I'm good. I like what Brian said about, allowing for the weekend time. Otherwise, all good.
Chris Thomas?
Are there any ATF requirements for this? I know you mentioned ATF. I just don't know how they fit in.
They do. There will be some ATF requirements, and I don't know specifically what those are. Jason may be able to share those, but from a local level, they require for me as the zoning administrator to sign off on the approval. And so it's really not super clear if he needs to get a conditional use permit. That's been our past practice, and I think it's a good one. It creates a record of such a business. But he's indicated that he's going to comply with all the requirements that are in the details of the conditional use permit. So if it's approved by the Plan Commission tonight, and sounds like it will, I will then provide that approval to the ATF, and then they have their own background and other whatever else the ATF does as part of their process.
Okay, thanks. No further questions.
Brad Zeman, any questions?
Nothing here from my side. Thank you.
Okay, so I don't really have any questions myself. I think it's just the important thing is it's saying that he's going to secure the property. I guess after watching last week, no property is actually secure, but I'm hoping that, is there any requirements on that as far as what's needed to secure the property? Kevin?
Is that for me, Chris? We don't have any requirements, so I guess you could ask the applicant in terms of what he's being provided, but we're not proposing to put any further restrictions on securing the property. Brian's on here too, I think that's something you could consider. But
Well,
I suspect that the ATF has their own approval process that would include some restrictions on that.
And if I can, Chris, I would say that I think that on page 2 of the conditional use permit, subsection K would actually cover what Kevin was saying. If there are, for example, ATF rules that apply to the home occupation, I think that those rules would then are incorporated by reference within that subsection K, at least as it pertains to the firearms that are related to the home occupation.
Okay. So then the other question I guess I had was from the same question that Brian had. So G basically says the home occupation be operated on the property during the hours of 3 and 8, Monday through Sunday. That's every day, including Saturday. So all we're looking at are maybe adding some Saturday morning hours. Is that what I'm hearing? For clarification?
Yeah, that's a request.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I don't see any problems with that then. So, okay. So any other questions? Otherwise I'd look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Brad Zeman was the motion. Brian Wallace was the second. Any other comments?
Can we clarify those hours now? Oops, sorry.
Hold on one sec. Brian Kleinmeyer.
Yeah, that was actually what I was going to say. I just want to make sure that the motion and second include adding language to that subsection G, allowing for the home occupation to be open from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturday mornings.
Yes, that is the motion.
Okay, Brian Wallace, you agree?
Yep, in addition to the hours that are listed, correct? Yes, I agree.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, Tracy, roll call, please.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
Bill Willems,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Brad Zeman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Next item we have is a public hearing and discuss an action on a request for conditional use permit by Juanita Anderson, 304th Street, to operate an in-home hair salon. Kevin, you want to introduce and then let Juanita in?
Sure, absolutely. Sure, this is just a request to have an home occupation. We've had a number of these in the past, and I'm hoping that Juanita was able to see the conditions on the permit. I did, Juanita, just expand the hours slightly to make sure you would be in compliance. But I'm assuming that you've read the permit requirements in terms of drive-up traffic and the other requirements that are part of the CU. So with that, staff is pretty supportive. We've been supportive of these types of home occupations, throughout the village. And just to let the commission know, as part of this process, all the neighboring properties would have been notified of this public hearing.
Okay, Juanita, any comments for you before I open up the public hearing?
I don't think so. I have nothing.
Okay, sounds good. Then I'm going to open up our public hearing, 5:49 p.m. If you'd like to make any comments in regards to this, please raise your hand. So Tracy will bring you in.
I show no hands raised at this time.
Come on, there's one person out there that needs a haircut. Come on. I have to. So, all right. Good kidding, of course. So I am going to close our public hearing then, since we've seen none, and open it up to our Plan Commission members. I'm just going to see by raise of hand if you have any comments or questions. Okay, seeing none, I would look for a motion on this.
I make a motion, we approve the conditional use permit for 304th Street as recommended by staff. We can't have enough places out there.
Okay, a motion by Bill Willems and a second by Brian Wallace.
Yep.
Second by Brian Wallace. Okay, any other comments? Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Bill Willems,
Yes.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Brad Zeman.
I need a haircut. Yes.
Motion
All right,
carried.
new client and everything for you, Juanita.
Oh, my goodness. I guess I could make some money in this town.
Okay, sounds good. All right, good luck with your business. Appreciate you coming in tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have discuss and take action on request by Lone Silo North LLC and Dalmatian Farms LLC for a 4-lot certified survey map west of County Highway Q and south of Woodland Drive. Kevin?
Stuff. Tracy, if you could bring up the certified survey map that is being proposed. This is actually part of a land division that we did for the Quick Trip. And the Tierney's are now taking steps to do some additional planning for this area. And they've requested this certified survey map, and certainly no issues at the staff level, other than some technical issues that Kent Strauss raised with regard to the CSM. But they really are technical in nature and more a math equation to make sure the thing balances out properly. So staff is supportive and would recommend approval. The Tierney's are on, so if you have any questions for them, I think they'd be in a position to answer them.
Okay, board members, or commission members, questions. I lost all of your view here. Hold on one second. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Chris Thomas.
So I believe we approved a Quick Trip going in here a few months back. Is this replacing that, adding to it? How does that configure with the rest of this?
Brian, Brian Kleinmeyer, go ahead.
So my understanding is that the CSM that created the Quick Trip lot has not in fact been recorded yet. And so what's going to happen is this CSM, if approved by the recommended for approval by the Planning Commission and approved by the village board, would be recorded first. And then the CSM related to Quick Trip would get recorded. And that's actually part of the recommended motion that Kevin has on page 25. The other thing that I would point out for this is, my understanding is that the certified survey map that is before you tonight is really here for purposes of estate planning purposes and not for development. My understanding is that within possibly as early as your next meeting, you may be seeing a conceptual plan that's more related to development, and there would be further land divisions associated with that.
Chris, I do have Mike Lawton with his hand raised.
Is Mike Lawton an attorney?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Bring Mike in. Go ahead. Ask your questions, Mike. Or comments. Did I scare him off? I hope not.
Mike, can you unmute?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me now?
There you are, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Brian did a good job of explaining. We'll be back with development stuff soon, but this is to kind of get our affairs organized as far as ownership of different parcels. We've got a couple of entities involved, et cetera. And yes, the Quick Trip will, we will eventually record a CSM for the Quick Trip. Maybe we'll have to come back and have you reapprove it to with the new designations when this CSM is recorded. But all those things are still alive and will eventually happen.
Okay, so this is really not really establishing anything other than you're making sure your guys are clean on your end for your entities. Is that right, Mike?
Well, yeah, we are ending up with some parcels that are below 35 acres. So we wanted to make sure we were legal in terms of splitting it up if we have different ownership of different pieces. So we're going through the proper procedure.
Okay. Other questions that commission members might have, raise your hand. Okay, seeing none, I'd look for a motion then for this.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the CSM to village board, subject to all staff comments being addressed to the satisfaction of the village engineer.
Motion by Chris Thomas, second by Kristen Runge. Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call vote, please, Tracy.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Bill Willems,
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
And it looks like we lost Brad Zeman.
Okay, we'll try to find him, Tracy, and then we'll get him back in here.
Motion
Okay,
carried.
motion carried. Move on. All right, next we have discuss and take action on request by Renew Air 201 Ramish Road for outdoor storage at the rear of the existing building. Kevin?
Yeah, and Tracy, maybe you can bring up the site plan that goes along with this. And this one is not as clear to me, and I was hoping that somebody from Renew Air would be on the meeting with us and give us a better explanation of the intent. They indicated that it's a temporary usage for storage of equipment, and that they only need it for a short time period. I'm the one that came up with 24 months, and I don't know if that's a reasonable time period. There are some utility conflicts that they'll have to resolve, and that we're recommending that be a condition of approval. But it's a little bit of an odd one in terms of, having to put up a tent for at least a couple of years, and not some more permanent structure. So Tracy, I didn't see anybody on here from Renew Air. Do you see anybody?
No, unfortunately, I don't see. I had one contact person and I have not heard from her.
Brian Kleinmeyer, go ahead.
Yeah, Kevin, the only thing I wanted to add too, is I see that there's a recommended motion on page 40 that relates to the temporary use that you're talking about. Kent also had a comment in his memo regarding the code requiring some type of suitable screening or fencing, and I wasn't sure if you wanted to add to that, subject to final review and approval by you, so that any comments that Kent may have are utilized for this project.
Yeah, agreed. And we need to add the condition that, we got to resolve the utility issues that go along with that. That's a given, but, it's not something that can be done without that. But I think adding that as a condition of approval is appropriate. I also think it's if the Plan Commission wants to know more about this, we could ask the applicants to come and give us a better description of what they're proposing.
Are we doing anything out of the ordinary, Kevin, with this? I feel like we are. With outdoor storage, usually we're pretty on top of what we're going to allow for that, as well as space. The tent that's going to go over this, is it really going to be a block to it? There's a concrete slab that's going in, that's going to be utilities. We don't have any of these resolved. Why is this ready for us to approve? That's my question.
That's a good question, Chris. And it is unusual, and I don't think we have anything else quite like it. We've had, like Unique Plastics, who would store on a regular basis. Their storage equipment was in, tractor trailers. That.
I guess I feel like I don't have enough information to agree to this at this point. Not that I'm against it entirely. I just don't have enough information here.
Yeah, I was hoping that somebody from Renew Air would be on and could further explain what they're proposing to do. I think it's fine to ask them to come back next month and give us some more details.
Okay, is anybody opposed to doing such thing? So then the motion would be to table this, correct, Kevin?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to make the motion to table this. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. There was a lot of seconds in that one, so I think this one's going to pass through. Kristen Runge got the second in. Tracy, any other comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Bill Willems,
Yes.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
and still no Brad Zeman. Motion carried.
Okay, next we have discuss and take action on ETJ CSM for Ballweg Reef, 5497 Cuba Valley Road, Town of Vienna. Kevin?
Yeah, from what I understand, they're doing some estate planning and separating out some of the farmland from the farmhouse and the structures. And we have the opportunity to object to this if we're interested, and I didn't see any findings where we would be interested in objecting to this proposed land division.
Okay, commission members, any questions of Kevin in regards to this? I mean, generally we leave it up to the local jurisdiction, unless there's something that looks just completely off base, and Kevin generally will point that out to us. So I don't really have any questions. I mean, I think Vienna is capable of taking care of this. Any other comments? Okay, so I'll make the motion to recommend to the village board not object to the proposed CSM. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brian Malish. Any other comments? Okay, call the question. Roll call vote, please. Sorry.
Bill Willems,
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Chris Zellner.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, then we have our Waunakee Westport JPC update. Looks like Kevin, go ahead. Anything we need to, did we lose Kevin?
No, I'm here. I'm just looking to see what was on here that we need to look at.
It was a consult for a CSM and then the Tierney 4-lot split. That's really all.
So yeah, so the land split we've already taken care of, and then the initial consultation. And I don't have an opinion on that until after we hear from the town of Westport. I would say we stay silent on it unless somebody's got some comments they want to share.
Do our joint plan members know what to, I mean, I want to make sure they know what they're supposed to be doing when they get there.
I don't think they'll know until we have the consultation.
Okay. All right. Awesome meeting tonight, you guys. I am going to jump and be Mr. Bill Random, Dr. Bill Random tonight, and I'm going to motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to go with Chris Thomas. I saw his fingers up first. So Chris Thomas gets the second on the adjournment. Tracy, roll call vote, please.
Willems. Bill Willems,
Yes.
Kristen Runge,
Yes.
Chris Thomas,
Yes.
Brian Wallace,
Yes.
Brian Malish,
Yes.
and Chris Zellner.
Yes. Thank you to all, and to all a good night. Have a great
Meeting
night.
adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Night.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.